Hello, my name is Heather Campbell and I'm the principal here at Camden Primary. I first of all want to welcome you to our school district. This is our attempt to do a kindergarten roundup. Normally we would invite at least one parent for every student to come in for a certain time, and we would go to the library and we would be having this meeting face to face. But due to COVID and the many restrictions we have, we are trying to think a little bit outside of the box and still get you the information. When you bring your child to Roundup next week, starting on May 3rd, each student, obviously there were several different days over a couple of weeks. When they leave, they will bring to you a folder, and in that folder one of the things will be this PowerPoint. So I'm going to go over a little bit of those things. There'll be some other things from the kindergarten teachers. They will also be a part of this video talking to you, as well as Miss Jenny, our secretary. She will be a part of this video talking to you about attendance and notes. And Mrs. Gray, who is our Title I teacher, will also be a part of this video. So the first slide is just kind of introducing myself. As I said, my name is Heather Campbell. I have been the principal here for several years now. I've actually been a part of the district for 23 years. I have 3 children. One of my oldest is a student at Bluffton University, and I have 2 boys who are currently at our junior-senior high school in the high school. The main thing is my door is always open to you. If you have any questions or concerns, always feel free to give me a call or email me. If I don't know the answer, I will definitely do my best to find that answer out for you. Some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about today are some of the assessments that your child will experience while here at Camden. While we definitely do not put all of our eggs in the assessment basket, it is an important piece to our students so that we can learn a little bit about what each child knows and be able to adapt what they need for each individual student. One of the things that we have to do is what's called the 3rd grade reading guarantee. That is something that the state has put forth on us. We are required to test all students by September 30th or November 1st for kindergarten. And that assessment is to determine if a student is on track or not on track. We do that through what we call our MAP assessments. It is through a company called NWEA. One of the things about MAP, it's very nice, is it is very specific to the child. So when they go through, if they answer a question correctly, the next answer might be a little more difficult. If they answer that one correctly, the next one is going to be a little difficult. And if they miss a question, it'll kind of go back and become a little easier. And so it kind of goes back and forth like that. And then we are able to get some information on that child. First of all, it's going to tell us where they're at. It's going to give us what they call a RIT score. And then teachers are able to go in and actually look to see what skills they know very well and what skills they don't know very well. So then we use that information both in the classroom but also to meet that 3rd grade reading guarantee. And so based on that score, we will have to determine if your child is on track or not on track. And you may be thinking, wow, it could be not on track already and we're just starting kindergarten. It's really amazing what is expected of them already coming into kindergarten. But don't fret, out of all the grades, we definitely have the most students who are not on track in kindergarten. We will, however, work with your child to get them back on track, and we have a lot of success with our kindergartners every year. If they are not on track, one of the things that the state says that we must do is place your child on a RIP. Just get used to it. We have a lot of acronyms in education. So a RIP is a Reading Improvement Monitoring Plan. And so that will go over what the students already know, what they need to know, as well as how we're going to go about doing it, the interventions that we're going to put into place. That could be some small group in the classroom. That may mean that they get pulled for a small little bit of time each day, about 20 minutes with our title teacher. Lots of different pieces can go into place to meet that RIP. Another assessment that I feel is probably even the most crucial assessment that we give is our Easy CBM. It is a screening tool that we use to determine needs for our students in English language arts. In kindergarten, there are 3 different assessments that we give, and they're little 1-minute prompts. So it will be some sounds, letter recognition, and then breaking apart words. The phoneme segmenting is what we call that. And then we are able to compare that to national, and it will tell us in each area if a student is low risk, some risk, or high risk, and then it'll give us an overall picture. We use that information to determine if they need to be placed in RTI. Our MTSS team will go through that and determine if they need to be in Tier 2 or in Tier 3. Tier 2 and Tier 3 are just fancy ways of determining who needs some more one-on-one or very small group interventions, how often we'll be giving that, and we'll be very strategic in what areas that they're going to get that. So if they are struggling with letter sounds, then their interventions will be around letter sounds. We will then also progress monitor them every couple of weeks to make sure that they are heading in the right direction. It has proved to be very helpful to us. We've had a lot of students who maybe started in with, being some risk and or even high risk, and have come off of that and end up being low risk. So it's very strategic for our students and their needs. One of the other things I want to talk about is a program that we use called eSpark. eSpark is a computer-based program. If you remember, I just talked about MAP assessments that we do for 3rd grade reading guarantee. That information is then given to the company with eSpark, and they give the students a very prescriptive path of learning based on that information, and it's both in math and in English language arts. The students will then be able to get on iPads or a tablet type piece, it might be a Google tablet, that they will then be able to get on each day for a small amount of time to be able to learn those skills. So there'll be videos that they'll be able to watch to learn some skills. There'll be some practice involved. And then at the end of that quest or that path for that particular skill, the students will then videotape themselves and teaching and talking about what they've learned, which is a very high level thinking skill. So very excited that we are continuing again with that next year. The next slide is breakfast and lunch. And so currently this year, if you've heard or if you have older siblings that are here, breakfast and lunch is free for this year. I do not believe that will be the case next year. Of course, we usually don't find out until the very last minute. So if that's the case, we'll definitely communicate that with you. But we do offer breakfast and lunch, and in a normal year, that does cost. If you want to find out what's being served, all you have to do is go to our website, which is www.psarrows.com. You can click on departments and then go to food service. Once you're there, you'll be able to scroll down and click on menu, and you can see the PDF file. And don't worry about those directions, I have that all right here, so you'll have that a part of your packet. For transportation, the routes and numbers usually are available on our website. The biggest thing if you're riding a bus is to just kind of talk about those roles, with the students. It's easier in our vehicles because obviously they're probably in them for a shorter period of time. Bus rides tend to be a little longer because we're stopping at each route, and they're strapped in. And on a bus, of course, we don't have seat belts. So our kindergartners, if they have a longer ride, it is very difficult for them. So maybe practice some things now that they can do when on a long ride. A lot of times, if they're with mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, a lot of times, and I know I've done this myself, here's my phone, let's play this game. And it does help, kind of pass the time for them. On a bus, they're not going to have those electronic devices. So, kind of going old school with them, teach them, counting how many cows they may see on the way home, or I spy a color that they might be able to play with their seat partner. So maybe think about those old school games that they might be able to play on the bus to help pass the time. Discussing what the rules are, making sure that they sit in their seats and they're facing forward. They can talk with their seat partner, but they can't be shouting to people, 5 people back. Staying in their seats and not in the aisle, because we definitely do not want to block that view for our bus drivers. And then also, if you happen to have a kindergartner and this is your first child, something that we've had them do is place a white rag on the mailbox, kind of just to help the bus drivers know, hey, this is a family, it's their first time, and we want to make sure that we get them and there's no older siblings to kind of help them out along the way. But if you have any questions about transportation, you can contact Kitty Line. She is our transportation director, and her phone number, you can call any school and listen in the prompts and then go to transportation. And again, all of that is part of this slide here that you'll get in your packet. Again, as I said at the beginning, you're going to be listening to Miss Jenny Foxbauer. She is our secretary. Any questions you have, feel free to call the school anytime. She is amazing and she will help you out tremendously. She is going to kind of go over notes for dismissal, if you're going home in a different way. She's also going to talk about absences and parents' notes and how to handle that. Just again, like this particular year that we've had has definitely been a very trying year. I'm very hopeful that we will be back to a normal year next year, but please know that if it is anyway not a normal year and we are continuing similar, we will do everything we can to make sure that your child is safe. And again, my door is always open to you. If you have any questions, even over the summer, I am in and out over the summer very often. Feel free to call. There is a prompt for the principal. Leave me a message on my voicemail and I will get back with you. Welcome to Camden Primary.
Hello, my name is Jenny Foxbauer and I am the secretary here at Camden Primary. Today I'm going to talk to you about dismissal changes for your students, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon, and also about our attendance policies and ways to keep your student with perfect attendance and not have any unexcused absences. So right now I'll speak to you about our dismissal plans and how we do that. Usually what happens is your student will get set up with a bus routine, so they'll have their bus number for the morning or afternoon, or if you live in town or choose to transport your student to and from school, at the beginning of the school year we'll make those notes so that the teachers know. For some reasons, like doctor's appointments or a babysitter sick, or you're not going to make it home because you got held over at work, plans change. We all know that. We're all human and things happen. So in order for us to keep your child safe and make sure that we're doing things the correct way, we just ask that either you send in notes or give me a call. I'm going to give you an example of one so that you understand this is a little different of us, a different way for us to do it. So let's say your daughter rode the bus in today, bus 16, normal bus, but you got to work and realized, oh, I have a meeting after work, I need to have her picked up. So what you do is just call the office and let me know that, hey, I need such and such to be a car rider today. And what happens at that point is I make a note letting the teacher know that there is a change in her transportation for the end of the day, and then we stick that in what we call the end of the day folder, so that goes down to the classroom, the teacher is aware of it, and then she'll have the note, so whomever is picking her up, we know that they have been authorized to pick up. Same thing with bus change. If it was a bus change, you would just say, hey, I need her to ride this bus home tonight, and we put that bus number down, send it down to the teacher, same way. Then she'll take that note to the bus driver, so the bus driver knows that she does have permission to drop the student off at that house. I hope that makes sense. I know this is kind of different, but if you have any questions about dismissal or anything like that, the best thing to do is to call. I'm always at my desk, so I can always answer the phone and take that burden or that stress of worry off of your mind. I will tell you, my phone rings a lot, so if I don't answer the phone, that doesn't mean that I don't get your message. I try my best to call everyone back, but there are some times where I don't get the chance to call back. So I can assure you that I check every message before any student leaves. So I do ask, we dismiss at 3:30. On Wednesdays, it's 2:30. I do ask that you try to do it within the 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock range so that I have enough time to get the messages checked, notes and folders of changes, and those down to the teachers and students so that everyone is aware before we begin dismissal. Other than that, that's pretty much the standard for how we do our transportation, dismissal, coming and going changes. If we talk about attendance is a long story here, but we're not going to go too deep into it because we're on a video and I just don't want to bore you guys with it. The biggest thing I can say with attendance is make sure you're calling. If your student's off, make that phone call. Just making that morning phone call to say, hey, my student's not going to be in today, keeps your student from having an unexcused absence, and it keeps you from getting multiple phone calls from us saying, hey, your kid's not at school. If you have a doctor's appointment, I know as a parent we forget a lot of times to get that doctor's note, but if it's a medical excuse, it doesn't count against the student's missed hours. So that helps out a lot with keeping your student out of the truancy situation, especially if your student's going to be one that's at the doctor's a lot. So just bring that doctor's note in, and if you forget, I understand, because as a parent I forget a lot of times too. Just give me a call and I can give you a fax number and they can fax it over to us. If you call me in the morning and call your student off, then you don't have to worry about sending in a note. If you forget to call in or you're busy at work and you can't make that phone call, the next day if you just send in a note, that excuses your student also. You're allowed to have, normally the way that we base it is 10 parent notes. So for the year you get a total of 10 parent notes, and after you've reached that 10th parent note, it's not me, it's the system that kind of red flags your student, like, hey, this student's hitting some truancy issues, and that kind of gives the red flag for our truancy officer, Alan Copeland, to kind of look into things. And sometimes he'll give you a call, sometimes he'll knock on your door depending on how severe the attendance is. So you just want to make sure that you stay in that 10 parent range. Obviously, if you have medical notes, those medical notes don't count towards your 10 parent notes. And also, if you are planning a vacation throughout the year and it's during the school time, it's not on one of our chosen break weeks, there's a form that we would send home to you. It's a vacation request form, and what happens there is Mrs. Campbell, our principal, will take the time to look at the attendance and speak to the teachers to make sure that this student hasn't had any attendance issues. And then once she verifies that, that goes in as approved principal excuse, so those won't go against your 10 parent notes either. So I know this is a lot coming at you at one time, and I hope that I haven't spoke too fast or said one too many times, but if you have any questions, like I say to everyone, is as long as my phone's ringing, I have job security. So don't hesitate to give me a call. I look forward to meeting you and building a relationship with you and your children in the upcoming school year. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Gray. I teach Title I here at Camden Primary for kindergarten and first grade. Title I is a program that helps students in reading that need a little bit of extra help. We use a measurement called Easy CBM that students are given 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. And then in between those times, if students come and see me, we use the same measure to progress monitor our students to see how they're doing with basic kindergarten foundational skills. So I'm here to help your student with reading and lay a good foundation in kindergarten. I can't wait to see everybody soon.
Hello, we are the kindergarten team. My name is Nancy Clark. I am one of the kindergarten teachers. You will be receiving a packet that looks something like this in a folder when you come with your child to Roundup. Inside the packet, there's lots of information on kindergarten readiness. Look over that this summer and work on the things with your child that they are struggling with. so that they are ready to come to kindergarten in the fall. Also, we ask that on the first day of school, whichever way your child is going to be coming to school every single day, whether it's a bus ride or a car rider, that they do that on the first day of school so they get into that routine and they do not get confused.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Bagley. In kindergarten, we have snack each day, so have your child bring a snack with them.
I'm Mrs. Wolf, and your child will be getting a take-home folder that will look something like this. They will be bringing it home every single day, and they need to bring it back to school every single morning. It's a way that we can communicate together. I will be sending things home in it, and you can always send notes with your child in it as well.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Cottingale, and I was going to talk about the supply list. You will be getting this in your packet. There's a lot of good information on here. We like the Fisker scissors, and we like these really great pencils. So check this list before the list in the stores, because this is a more accurate list. So we look forward to seeing you this fall. I hope everybody has a good summer.